Hey everyone, this is Sidious. I'm going to show you how to build a map in Tabletop Simulator for Battletech or any other game you want to use these maps for. Anyway, so looking at Steam here, first things first is I would recommend subscribing to Battletech Accessories, put forth by myself, Sidious with a 5 at the end for the last S, and then Dunamis with a 5 for the last S. Okay, so this is going to have everything you'll need to start a Battletech game and even build maps from here. And I have that loaded here. Let's see, back to my workshop. If you've subscribed, it'll be right there in your workshops. Move that mic away from my face so I'm not blowing in it. All right. Big overview here. So this accessories file is loaded up with a empty board. So you can clear all this off and save it so you have a blank table to start from, or you could always start any game from here, I suppose. Just to kind of give you an overview here, Battletech cheat sheet. Everything that's going on here. I'm assuming if you're trying to play Battletech on Tabletop Simulator, you have some familiarity with this. Otherwise, time to brush up, do some reading. Various dice, non-mech minis, trucks, etc. Buildings and turrets for maps. Hexes to make maps, all different styles. Gravel. Various types of terrain like water. And then map markers, different targets, various other markers here. Stuff to use in your record sheet. When we fill out damage on our record sheet, we like to use these little red markers because they fill in the circles nicely and they kind of look nice. It's also like fire and things like that. Movement dice to help you identify who's moved and when. Field of fire indicators. Turn counter. These sideboard extensions here are just nice for putting your record sheets on. If you're playing for playing against Op4, you can choose your enemy mechs, and then we have a system for doing that. And then this would be if you have a 1 dice roll, it'll calculate 2 dice roll. Okay. So that we have this set up as attack, location, crit, and cluster. So for every attack, we'll just hit 2d6, and it'll give us all that information. So we don't have to roll. All right, that's pretty good. So what we're talking about today is map making. So what I'm going to do here, now if you were starting with an empty table, okay. Objects, saved objects. Now on that other accessories table you had all those bags. What you can do is you can click on those bags and you can save them. So save object. Here's your gravel, concrete, desert, forest, etc. Drop one of those bags on there. Okay. Search. And here's everything you're going to need to start building your map. Level 1. Level 0. Let's get light wood. Sure. Actually, we'll get that from terrain. We don't need that. Oh, get a level 3. Just to demonstrate. Alright. So, 3 basic pieces on our empty map. That bag out of there. So when you're looking, we should have this already set up on the accessories file, but you should always check just in case. Yeah. So grid styles. You see how they have these organized in how the hexes flow. This is so if a mech is moving straight, they're going to be moving on diagonal. They're not just going to be sprinting. straight across the map. If you want to have lanes set up so a mech can sprint straight across the map in the rectangle direction, change to hex vertical. I personally prefer hex horizontal because it tends to send units out and spread out the field a little bit. No, I feel like not often you're going to have just a straight on game of chicken going down the middle of the battlefield. All right, show lines so you can tell everything. And then here is some of the key points. You want center snapping on so that your hexes snap to the middle of the hex. Grid size. Grid size of 2.25 works really well for the models of these hexes. When you upsize them, they should fit perfectly together. Unless you upsize them too much, then they're going to bounce off each other. So take care for that. But 2.25 works really well. I did find some other sizes in the past a few months ago that worked well. I think one was around 1.83 or 1.82. I'm not exactly sure, but if you stick with 2.25, you'll have a good looking map, and the size is very reasonable for a 1v1 battle or a battle with 8 to 12 mechs. It's pretty good as far as range and maneuverability. All right, so this is all good. Okay. All right. One thing that's good to do, if you've checked all your bags and resaved everything, then you should be all set, but make sure whatever you pull out of the bag is the same size. Easy way to do that is just grab and drop. And yeah, there's no overlap of the lips here, so that's good. And that one's also good. Okay. Now, if this is your map, what I like to do is start off with a basic outline, a template. So I'm going to Control C, just copy this hex. Boom, 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 boom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a couple rows here. And I'm just doing Control V, so I'm holding down Control and just tapping V when I'm hovering over these hexes, and the center snap should drop it in the middle of each of these hexes. Okay. And if you'll notice, these are undersized. We want them to be undersized at this point so they're not bouncing and banging all off each other. That way at the end we can upsize everything and it'll fit perfectly. So what I'm going to do now is, since I can only copy a limited number and I don't want to Control V all these all the way down, I'm going to grab this chunk. I'm going to hover over that left corner. What I do is I hit Control C, and what it does is it copies the location of all those hexes with respect to where your mouse is. So I'm going to move up here, Control V, boom. Now I can move down much quicker. Okay. And I would keep going, but I don't have to because I've already created a basic map, and I actually did upload them to the workshop. So if you search through my file, you should be able to find plenty of these basic maps. So, all right, well, let's look up basic snow. Ta-da! All right. So this would be the outcome of what I was just showing you to do. You have a full-size basic snow map. Okay, all these should be the same size. We have ice, we have some trees, we got water, we have some wooded areas where the snow has melted per se, and then here's a map. So what I would say is, if you have a general idea of the type of map you're going to make, just start outlining it using the trusty old delete key. So let's see, if I had to think about this, easy enough, we'll just put a crossing river right through it, because I always like a little water and or ice to kind of screw things up a bit. Depending on the map, you're either going to want this to be asymmetric, or symmetric in some way, shape, or fashion. So I'm an engineer, so I do like good old symmetry. Okay. To a degree. A little asymmetry is fun. Alright, so we have our river. And what you can do now, let's start with water level 0. Or, you know what, let's make it iced over. So I'm going to copy that ice tile, Control C, and just start popping those in there. So now the rules for movement on ice would apply in your Battletech campaign. Whoop. If you drop one on top of another, you can just grab it. So I'm just doing Control V to drop more ice tiles in these hexes. And it really goes pretty quick if you have a rough idea of the map you want to make. It's pretty fast. A lot of people are like, oh, you know, map making so boring, it takes forever, the hexes don't line up. If you've been listening to what I've been saying about 2.25, using undersized tiles to start, you should be in good shape. And then having a basic map pre-saved and set up makes a big difference in terms of time from starting map making to the end. So you can probably hear me clicking the delete. I'm just gonna, you know, we're gonna be making some hills here, putting in some woods, making this map a little bit more interesting than just a flat, snowy tundra and plain. You know, we want a reason for that spider to be jumping around here. We don't want him to just be sprinting straight across the map, scoring objectives, getting behind assaults. Alright, so we have a bunch of empty terrain here. So what we can do is start filling it in with either some trees, light cover, heavy, and I pulled these from saved objects, map objects, and I have terrain. And I believe this is in the accessories file. Search. Ta-da! Woods, fire. There's your water and ice. Various level woods, light and heavy. Stumps, craters, rocks, trees, etc., etc., etc. So you can make a pretty map. Alright, but we have everything out here already. What I like to do now is start with, let's just say a level 1 snow, and decide where I want some level 1 snow. Drop that around. And think about what people are going to do when they're playing this match. So level 1 snow, if you put that in a spot like this, right here, just kind of on this point, you know, and there's no other cover, but it's going to be a spot where people are going to use for partial cover. So it's going to be a shooting point, I would say, a point of aggression. And when you're considering the map, try to make sure that one side's not biased against the other. So in terms of points of aggression, make sure that there's something similar on both sides. One here, one here, one here. I actually might want another one. There we go. So that way the map is not too one-sided. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to grab a couple of these woods. I call these the taiga backwoods. Oh, okay. So what happened here is I dropped that one and it didn't snap quite right away, so it bumped this one and it fell over. So to fix a tile that gets bumped, lift it, drop it, and it'll recenter itself. Roughly the same thing will happen, except sometimes it doesn't quite straighten out. If it's not straightening out, give it a rotate. And actually, this should be about 60, right? Yeah. That should fix it. And you're good to go again. So, let's go ahead, keep dropping those in, a couple spots. Okay, maybe throw some singles down there. Whoop, stacked. Okay, how about some snow level 2? Just to get some height going here. Light woods, higher level. And let's see here. What I do sometimes like to do, get rid of that. Oh, that's not. Control Z if you make a mistake. It'll take a second, but it'll reload, fix your mistake. Sometimes it's not really worth it, just because it takes a second to load. You can see this is stuck on snow. There we go. Okay. What I'm going to do here is, a lot of times, something like heavy woods tends to gather fights. And just looking at, this is kind of biased to that right side there, come to think of it. So I'm going to not put those woods here so much as around here. Grab some heavy woods. And there's going to be a lot of fighting in this area, that's for sure. People like heavy woods. A little bit more cover over there too. Fill in any of these. Oop. Fix that. Fix that. Empty holes. Nothing else is missing. Can I get all of them? Looks like it. Aha. Just throw woods in there. Alright. Ta-da. Rough map. Now, if this is good, you can move on to skip ahead a couple minutes and we'll get to resizing. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you how to quick stick a road in here. Saved objects. Did I leave the terrain bag out? But it doesn't have. It has bridges. Search. No, that's the streets and bridges one. Yeah. Okay. objects, saved objects, map objects, structures you want, and streets and bridges. Search. All right. We're going to stay on level 1 for these streets. That bridge or that bridge. Street. Turn. That might be all we need. Close that for now. Alright. Once again, let's just make sure that these sizes are the same as what we're using on our hexes. Good. This one too. Good. Okay, let's make a road. Same thing, going back to our delete key here. We'll just make a meandering road that goes pretty straight through. Notice that. I get that. We'll go right through here. Doke. Grab our street, Control C, boom, boom. You've seen this before. Pretty straightforward. Feel free to skip ahead to the end of this section. You can see the road complete. Where is this bridge going to start? I guess we'll put it there. Fix that corner. Okay. Whoop, double. Okay. We have our road complete except for our bridge. And let's put that ice back in there. Bridge. You know what I'm going to do for the bridge is I'm going to save that for the end, because when I'm upsizing these hexes, it doesn't always turn out so well if you put the bridge on there early. So, map is complete. Road is in. I think we're all set to start saving. So, before we upsize, big deal, save your map. Because if you screw it up now, it's going to take you a while to fix it. Alright, so, games. Save and load. Create. Winter World. One of my snow maps. What are we going to call this? I don't know. Real creative. Icy River. Okay. Saved. Great. So, next big key piece of information. You can only select so many hexes with your selector, so make sure you select as many as you can get complete rows. Here we can get 5 rows, which is great. Bigger map, fewer rows, etc., etc., etc. What I like to do is to make sure first that all the hexes are centered correctly, lift them all. drop them. They should all be centered correctly now. Okay, now zoom in so you get a good look. Count how many pluses it takes to upsize these to perfect fit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Okay. Great. So now that I have them all upsized and selected, I'm going to lock them. Keep your mouse on the hex board, not the extensions, because you can accidentally unlock the extension. So with my mouse right here, I'm going to hit lock. Great. Perfectly locked. Yay. And then we're going to do that for the rest of the map. Grab a chunk. Try and stay to complete rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lock. Ta-da! Keep on going. You know what I didn't do there? I didn't lift them. Always lift them. When you make a mistake, you will sorely regret it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lock. Okay. Keep on, keep it on. Lift. Drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lock. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, I hit backspace. That one's a pretty easy undo because they all disappeared cleanly. They didn't bang together and get all jumbled. When they get all jumbled, that's when it gets really screwy. So this should reload, and there they are. Great. Yeah, it's too bad the plus button is right by the backspace button. Grab those rows again. Lift, drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lock. Okay. Lift, drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lock. Okay, still going. Big map. Lift, drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lock. Oh, look at that. My map got a little bit smaller here by accident. I'll fix that. I'll show you how to fix that in a minute. Lift and drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lock. Okay. This is where all your attention to detail and making sure all your original hexes are the same size, and where making sure that your grid is 2.25 pays off. Now, I don't know why some models twist when you pick them up, but keep an eye out for that and twist it. Usually it's the roads or terrain. So, yeah, I don't know why. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lock. 1 row short. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lock. Last row here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lock. Great. Alright, and as you can tell, there's that spot that I mentioned before that I kind of missed. Easy enough fix. We'll just grab anything here. No, we'll make that nice. No, I'll make it nice. Okay. Grab those 2 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lock. Ta-da. And for some reason we have 2 little pillars there. Whatever. There you have your complete, locked, nice map. But a road with no bridge. Grab our wood pier, which is a great bridge, or bridge 150. Minus that down so it fits. Stick that on there. Now you'll notice I can't get it to fit. That's because of the grid. Toggles. Turn the grid off. Size that to what you need. Okay, there you go. Now if these were water, these 2 pieces of ice were water, this bridge is going to sink into the water. What you can do is slightly oversize the bridge, and you see how the shadow is on those 2 hexes. It'll actually bridge these 2 hexes, which is totally fine. Not a big deal. The wood pier over here, it's actually tall enough that if you do drop it into water, depending on its size, you'll see the top of it, and you can just place that in a water hex and you'll still see it. But we'll leave this bridge as is, and it is great, so we'll lock that up. Alright, so now it's all set. You can drop any structures, buildings, etc., compounds. What I'm going to do here is map objects, search. Haha, let's put a command bunker in there, and let's put a basically just a guard for the bridge. Now obviously that's huge. Holding down the minus button will make that a more reasonable size. Ta-da! And how about some turrets? Building size turrets? I think not. We'll make them a little smaller. We'll occupy these woods to give the turrets a little bit of defense. And honestly, who sticks turrets right out in the open? It's just silly. How about 1? And then an all-seeing high turret. There you go. I usually don't lock structures like this. Easier to keep them free-flowing. Plus then you can spin them, which is fun. Alright, so that's that. If you're all set, go ahead and get rid of this extra stuff that's laying around. Bags there. There you have it. Icy River. Very aptly named map. And a pretty simple map, but should be fun for a variety of different battle types. Cool. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope the volume on this one was a little bit better than the previous. I moved into a new house, and I got a little bit more space now. I don't have to worry about waking the family. Alright. Take care.